Keely Orr, Sean Cody, Max Brown. We're now joined by Kaylin Martin, USC women's soccer. Now, I got to ask, I feel like if you were dreaming up a great scenario, dream scenario for a redshirt senior to finish the regular season, upsetting the number one team in the country, but your rival at the same time, how did it feel on Friday?
Oh my gosh, I can't even describe to you. It's been surreal ever since the final whistle blew on Friday. We haven't beat them in so long, ever since I've been here and a lot of players before me. So it was just a really exciting feeling to come out with a win with this team and know that, you know, we're going to be carrying that momentum into the postseason.
Yeah, talk about that momentum. I mean, the 4C going in, it's tournament time to get it going. What's the team's mindset? How are you guys feeling going into this thing?
I think we're all pretty eager. I mean, we're very excited to get out there. We just got the seating today, so we figured out where we are in the bracketing and everything, and we like the path that's ahead of us. I think we have a lot to look forward to here in the upcoming weekends.
I know you are taking it one game at a time, but inform the listeners, what is that path? What is that draw? What's the course ahead for your squad?
Yeah, so this weekend we're taking on UCI, and we're a 4 seed in the bracketing, which is pretty awesome. That's a good place to be sitting right about now. The number one team in our area of the bracket is Alabama, so hopefully we'll be facing off against them in the future. But like you said, just want to take it one team at a time and take care of business this weekend.
Yeah, what does this week look like as far as prep? You found out, like you said earlier today, you have a week to prepare. How does that work in a tournament setting?
I think that, you know, in my old age as a fifth year, I think the biggest thing that I've learned is that as much as you have to physically prepare, you have to mentally prepare. And knowing that this could be your last game is kind of a scary feeling, especially like for me now that I'm older. But the biggest thing that I think our team needs to prepare for is just being ready for the long run if we do make it, and just being able to separate each game and each team and focus on that day.
Does the game change when it comes to tournament time? I think about like playoff football and how football turns into like defense and running the ball. Does soccer change during playoff time?
Yeah.
Or tournament time, excuse me.
I would definitely say so. One thing that changed this year, which was brand new, was in our regular season, we didn't have any overtime. So if you tied at the 90th minute, that was the end of it.
Oh,
and at first, I know, ties are worse than a loss in my opinion. But last season we had plenty of overtime games where we ended up winning, and as much as like that's tough to play an extra 20 minutes at the end, it's very exciting and it gets you prepared. So this is definitely something different that we had to face in the regular season, but in tournament that all goes back to how it usually is, and you have PKs at the end. So I think just being able to mentally lock in for that long of a time, because it is a really long game and it can be very strenuous. I think that's something that's going to be key for us going forward.
How have you, senior leaders and maybe even the coaches as well, handled the fact that, hey, you want to celebrate and enjoy the huge win that you guys just had, but you also don't want to have the lull of, you know, still reminiscing on that, and then you get snuck up on in the first round of the playoffs? What's that balance like? What's the message been in that regard this week?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely been on a high ever since the win on Friday. I think the biggest thing today was just seeing the tournament and seeing the reality of it, seeing all the teams that got in. All of them have great records. Everyone on the board is like, anyone can beat anyone at this point. And I think seeing it and seeing the draw and sitting there with your teammates, it really makes it real. And even though we're coming off of a really big win, we have to make sure that we keep that momentum going forward and recognize that we are a good enough team to go pretty far.
You alluded to this earlier, but in a tournament setting, when you don't know what's going to be your last game, as a redshirt senior, how do you prepare mentally for like your final game as a Trojan? Or is that something you kind of put on the back burner and deal with it when you get there?
Oh, I cried hard. I just let you know now. I cried so hard in my last game. So go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I keep trying to picture. I've thought about that in the past couple of days, and I'm like, I don't really know what my reaction is going to be at the moment, but. Something that I realized that happened with this UCLA game actually was this was the calmest I'd ever been going into that specific game, because it always looms over our season. It's always like the rivalry match. It always kind of dictates the Pac-12 title also, so there's like double pressure on it. And this was the first year where I went into it and I actually had no nerves. I was ready to just play. I was really excited to play. I was looking forward to whatever the outcome was, honestly. I just wanted it to be a good soccer game. And that feeling, I think, is something that I want to take forward with me, because it just changes how you play.
Is that just maturity and being in your fifth year, or why do you think you had that mentality?
Yeah, I think it comes with just being in that situation before. You start to realize that, it is just a soccer game. And the things that I love about soccer is like playing really good teams. Those are the games I look forward to the most. And just recognizing that every moment I could look at it and be nervous and be scared of it, or I can take advantage of it and actually enjoy it and play the game that I love. So I think it definitely has come with my years of being here.
LAFC gets a big win last weekend. You guys get a big win. We got World Cup coming up. The women's soccer tournament's coming up. I mean, how awesome is it? Soccer is getting the spotlight this time of year.
Oh my gosh, it's awesome. I feel like in the past couple of years in the United States, soccer has been on the forefront, especially for the women's game. And even like the NWSL, they just had their championship and they broke a bunch of records in terms of attendance and people watching. And I'm just excited because hopefully that type of viewership will happen with us in the tournament. And there's a lot of energy around it, especially here in SoCal. So.
First year head coach, redshirt senior. How do you go into the postseason knowing that you kind of have a new leadership at the helm?
Mm-hmm. It's definitely had its growing pains being with a new coach, but Jane has really come in and established the game that she wanted to play. And I think now more than ever, we're all buying into the game plan and ready to work for each other. And that trust and chemistry has really, really come a long way. And I think that we're having a lot of our players are peaking right about now, which is something that's somewhat new. We used to try to peak earlier in the season, and now that I'm older, I'm seeing the benefits of it going into the postseason.
It's soccer time. Let's go, Keely.
It is. And come out and support USC soccer on McAllister, 1 p.m. on Saturday. Like you just heard, they're going to take on USC Irvine, so make sure you head out there. That's going to wrap it up with Kaylin Martin.